Angus Young, how you doing?
Good, Becko.
The Offspring.
How's it going, Becko?
Dave Grohl, how you going, mate?
Good, man.
Pete, it's been a long time coming.
Oh, Becko, hasn't it indeed?
We go inside the dressing room, speak to the biggest names in music,
Keith Richards of the Rolling Stones.
and crack open their esky.
That's exactly how I imagine you, by the way, sitting opposite me with a vodka and orange.
You're a discerning chap. This is The Rider.
Hey, it's Becko. Welcome back to The Rider. Well, a lot has happened this week in rock and roll. Some breaking news is coming through. I completely missed this, but Josh Klinghoffer, who used to be in the Red Hot Chili Peppers and is now a tour guitarist for Pearl Jam, has just pleaded guilty to vehicular manslaughter. And this is all in the courts right now as we speak. And we know Pearl Jam are coming back to Australia very soon. They're in the middle of their US leg of their tour as well. But that is just hectic. We're also waiting on the tour dates for the Aussie leg of the M72 tour for Metallica. They're travelling right across the states as we speak. It's one hell of a tour. But from what I'm hearing, it's going to be around November next year, November 25, for those Metallica dates. And from what I'm hearing, it's starting off at Marvel Stadium in Melbourne. But we'll keep an eye on that. We reckon an announcement's going to happen sometime this week. And also more unfortunate news for Foo Fighters fans with Babygate, which happened, I guess, a couple of weeks ago now. Came out that Dave Grohl's got a secret love child and his family life is pretty much disintegrating. It's all very sad to have in front of the world, pretty much. So they were meant to do a gig this weekend, a music festival, Soundside Music Festival. They cancelled. It was pretty much like 2 days out. They pulled the plug on that. Obviously, there's a lot going on inside the band.
This is The Rider.
Hayley Mary from the band The Jezabels. I remember seeing The Jezabels for the first time over 10 years ago. Splendor in the Grass. It was one of those 2 years they did up at Woodford. And it was such a hell of a weekend. Kanye West was headlining. This was the song which I reckon everyone knows from The Jezabels. You might have even seen them at one of their many gigs around Sydney. They did a whole week at the Lansdown as a residency, which bands don't do enough these days, I got to say, but that was fantastic. Her new album comes out October 25. It is Hayley Mary's first solo album called Roman XS. A bunch of really cool collaborations on this one, and I can't wait to get your reactions to it when it comes out October 25, and we're going to get to spend some time with Hayley Mary. Some really cool stories, by the way. If you're an Oasis fan, you make sure you stick around. But there she is. She's coming through right now. There we go. Hayley Mary, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, Becko. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. Well, finally, this is your first solo album. You had a few EPs, but you've got this one ready to go in October.
I do, yes. October 25th it's coming out. It's been a long time coming, it feels.
Well, when it's been on the shelf, you know, I know you've been working on this for a while, but you must really be tempted to go back and go, oh, can I tweak one of those songs, or can I do a change, or are you just done now?
Actually, you're totally right. That does happen. And so I actually have to get external powers to stop that. Like I actually just went to the distributor and was like, this is coming out on this day before it was ready. And I'm inputting like the first single before the record's ready, just so that I can't, because it did take me almost 3 years. To be fair, a lot of that was to do with the post-COVID effects on things. Like my first EP was just before COVID hit, so it was like, oh, that took a while to recover from and that kind of thing. But so yeah, I did. It took me a while, but yeah, eventually I just realized I would keep perfecting it if I didn't just give it a deadline.
I was going to say,
couldn't be moved.
You chose a terrible time to go solo as well.
I really did, didn't I? They say music is timing in more ways than one, and I'm not sure I have either of those good timings, but it's just, yeah, I didn't nail that. But hey, I mean, look, the way I see it is about silver linings. Like there was things that, you know, maybe would have been more advantageous if a pandemic didn't loom over my entire solo career, but it did give me the chance to like get better and get some chops on the board, and like sort of, I play guitar in this. I wasn't really a guitarist. Things like that. You just get a bit more confident. It was So, you've been playing in a band for years and you're kind of good at it. And then you go solo and anything new, like you kind of suck a bit for a while. And so I got like a little bit of time to get better rather than just kind of get out there in front of people and suck too much.
I think we all learned how to play guitar during the first or 1 or 2 lockdowns.
Yeah.
Like we all gave it a crack.
That was the vibe.
I guess the scary part is, when was your first gig, like solo? Where did you play?
I'm just trying to think. Like, so my first EP launch was booked for literally, I was actually packed with my suitcase ready to go to the airport, and my manager called up and said, this thing overseas is going off and they're probably going to shut the borders and I don't think you should get on the plane. And that was going to be in Sydney. I can't remember the venue. It was just a small venue, starting out. And that was my first EP launch. And then the next morning they shut down the borders. And so he was right. And luckily I wasn't trapped somewhere else. So, I mean, I think my first gig was literally like a few months later when they started working out the kind of, what was it called with the spacing?
Yeah.
The social distancing.
Yes, social
so
distancing.
I played Pato RSL. It's like 2 sets where they were like all sat on tables like meters apart from each other, and it was kind of like I kind of felt like it was sort of like a 20s cabaret show or something.
Isn't it? But you know what? It had some advantages though as a punter, because I saw.
Oh, for sure.
I saw DMAs at the Factory Theatre, same situation, tables and chairs, and I saw.
Yeah. I opened for them on some of those.
Oh, yeah,
they did like 40 shows or something.
Yes. And it was they had
to
a
get the
matinee
same
show.
amount of tickets.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's advantageous for the fans because they get to like sit there and chill, but you got to do like 40 times the amount of shows to get the ticket sales to equal the same thing. So it's not great for the band.
But hey, table service booze, that was the one good thing. Which
I thought they should have maybe kept it
Yes.
the 2 shows, like have like the early bird matinee show, like for the people who don't want to stay up and stand up, and then they go, and then you have the rock and roll show.
I went to a show about a couple of weeks ago. They were on stage at like 11:30, and I was like,
Oh, it's ridiculous, man.
"Fuck me."
Yeah, I had that
too
for
old
my
for this
last
shit.
shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. I actually did a kids show the other day with Ben Lee.
I saw that. Yes.
And it was at 11 a.m. And I know I've been complaining about how late shows are, but this one was pretty fresh. I like got up and I was like, I just got to open by saying, I'm a childless woman and I'm hungover and it's 11 a.m. So this is pretty real for me. And they were just like fresh with their children.
Little did they know their parents are probably hungover as well, so that's fine.
Yes, I think they probably were.
But it went well because I saw the photos and
Amazing. Yeah, look, small fry. I recommend if you've got kids, go. It's really wholesome. It's like it's a as a musician at first it's quite weird because there's like balloons and children everywhere, and then the balloons go on the stage and then the children get on the stage and get the balloons, and you're like, this isn't how it is. You don't get on the stage and they don't care and they just do what they want, and it's quite confronting at first, but you just sort of realize that it's not about you.
Well, I almost went to a UMI gig, same thing. I think same people, and I flicked them an email back and said, "Hey, can you get me a couple of tickets?" And they had to clarify with me, "We don't know if you'll really enjoy this one. It's not a typical UMI gig." And I went, "Oh, okay." So I didn't go. But,
You didn't go? I would have
go.
liked to see how Tim went with the children.
Yeah, me too.
Because he's quite a quirky and entertaining character.
Well, what is it with his bottle of red wine? Although he doesn't do it so much these days. But
No,
yeah.
I did a tour with them actually. We did the Who, Tommy, the Who album.
You did, yes. How did they go?
Yeah. Well, there was no bottle of red wine, which is why I brought it up. But yeah, amazingly, actually, what a strange album that is.
Yeah.
It's genius, but it's dark.
Oh,
It was amazing.
dark and complex. And was Sarah McLeod on that one as well? I can't
Yeah.
remember.
So Sarah and I were like the guest singers, and you and I were the sort of like the house band, and then they
Right.
did songs. I got to say, it's pretty amazing. Like, I've been in a band for a long time, and you get this kind of gel thing where you play together for ages. But like a band, how long have they been playing together for?
Oh, yeah, since very early, late 80s actually. So, yeah. Yeah.
So we're talking 40 years.
40 years.
Nearly.
Yeah.
So there's just something that you can't create without just doing the time, like singing in front of a band that has played together for that long, through their ups and downs and all that stuff and all the genres that have come into their playing, and it feels like you're riding like a wave or like a bull or something, like an electronic smooth bull that's just like, it's just this power force. It's really interesting, like an experience that someone who hasn't done that to be able to have that is pretty incredible.
I'm so relieved to being a massive admirer of that band and Tim as well, that certain people mold rock stars to a certain thing where they have to be the rock star persona and they have to be the drinker or the drug taker or the excess, just all that stuff. I think sometimes rock stars feel like they have to live up to that persona, but they don't have to. And he seems to be in such a cool zone now without getting hammered on stage every night, and it's really good.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's some things that just aren't sustainable. And yeah, like I think most of the people that have been going a long time tend to find a way of moderating. Otherwise they go another way. There's a saying about the gates of excess. You can't stand at them forever. You have to walk through eventually.
So true. Yes.
And I don't know, something's on the other side.
Everyone goes through that zone at some point, and you either come through or you don't. So that's the way it is.
Or you don't. Yeah.
So tell me about this album. So you recorded it some time ago.
The producer of this record, like the executive producer, is Lachlan Mitchell, who did all the Jezabels stuff.
Oh, great. Yeah.
So it's kind of got a bit of a sound that is a mixture between my more kind of straightforward rocky EP thing and then the kind of more gothy artiness of the Jezabels, which is cool because I think my EPs maybe alienated some Jezabels fans, but they definitely got me some fans that weren't even into the Jezabels, which is cool. But so it's got a bit of a mix of that, and I think some Jezabels fans will actually really prefer it to some of the EPs. But yeah, so I worked with him on all of the songs. He sort of oversaw the whole thing and did a lot of the production, and then there is like co-producers and co-writes from a few people. So Johnny Took, my husband, obviously has worked on a bunch of things.
And by the way, congratulations! And you are the royal couple of music. And I can't believe he was a Sydney boy though. Have you made him move to Melbourne?
I did make him move to Melbourne. I used to be a Sydney girl though as well.
Okay,
so
right.
I still have a love for the place, but yeah, it's just a bit easier here, more affordable.
Yeah,
and more, music friendly and various things.
I
swear, you just want to change sometimes.
I used to go to Vic on the Park a lot in Marrickville, and I swear I went there, 5 times. I
played there the other day.
Did you play there? I would have totally. Oh, if I knew.
Free show. So
I would
good.
have loved that. But he was always there. Like I would walk in and it's like, oh, there's Johnny.
Yeah.
Like literally.
Yeah.
Every single bloody time. So anyway.
Yeah, except last time. He stayed at home, the lazy bugger.
Oh, did he?
When I played, he came to the Melbourne show. But yeah, so Johnny co-produced a few songs and co-wrote some of them. And Louis Stevenson, who's from the Belligerents and Moses Gun Collective, he also does the Big Wet stuff and various other things. He co-wrote some songs and co-produced as well. So and then I also wrote a song with Jack Colwell, a Sydney artist who's a beautiful man and artist. So yeah, there's a little bit of stuff. Oh, I got True Vibe Nation playing some horns on one of the tracks, which was cool. They're like a horn trio.
Oh yeah.
From Sydney. And that track actually just came out recently. It's called Primordial Afterglow. It's a bit of a fan track because it's very weird.
Yeah.
But funnily enough, full circle, I was in Broken Hill for this Big Red Bash.
Oh my God, I love it.
Sorry, Monday Bash.
The Monday Bash. It's so
Bash.
good.
So good. Oh, my favourite festival. Anyway, and I'm sitting with Sarah McLeod just because she's on it too. We were drinking at the pub, the Palace, where they filmed Priscilla.
Yes, yeah.
And I'm like, I got this track coming out tomorrow and I don't have a video because it's not an official single, but I'm kind of sick of not having any video content for not official singles. And she's like, why don't I just make you a video here? And I thought she was meaning like, just a little, let's say hi to the camera and there you go and Bob's your uncle. And she gets all her Spielberg on me because her dad's a cinematographer.
Yeah.
And she gets her camera out, phone, but like turns it on cinematic mode so it looks really good. And she's just like taken over this venue, and we've done like an hour of shooting, and we made a music video, and it's actually really good. So you should check it out and check out Sarah McLeod's director and editing chops, because she's a very good videographer, it turns out.
I love that pub, by the way. If that's where you filmed it all, it's such a cool pub.
It's beautiful.
I was there
iconic.
Monday 2 years ago, and that first night just went straight there and had beers, and it was karaoke night, I think on a Friday, and it was just so trippy. It was just like everyone's there.
Yeah, there's two up as well. There were two up that night that we were there, and they've got that big.
That's great.
But apparently you can always play two up there because it's its own sovereign state or something.
Broken Hill might have a different rule. Yeah, right.
It does. Yeah, some heritage thing.
But it's such a great festival, though, and I'm glad you were on that.
Oh,
and
amazing.
And I hung out with Sarah a lot on that night as well. We just sat by the campfire backstage and drank beer and listened to Midnight Oil.
Oh, it's amazing. Is it like is it all Australian? It's pretty close.
Pretty close. I can't think of any internationals they've had in the last couple of years. I don't think so.
Yeah, and it's funny because you're seeing all these festivals kind of pushing the international thing, and sort of not really prioritizing Australian bands at all for reasons that might not really be in their control. But then they're going under, and it's like, well, maybe we should still be supporting the Australian bands.
Well, and also don't forget, half their reasons, and this is what I've heard from, when Splendor had a break or if it's gone under or whatever, and same with Blues Fest coming up, they've all said, the US dollar is the problem, one of the problems. Well, if you're
wouldn't
hiring...
be a problem if you had locals playing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's interesting. Okay. Yeah. So this was one of the great things about the Bash festivals. I love it. I had no idea they even existed, and they're just in the middle of the desert. Like, if anyone ever has a chance to go, I think that it's difficult for maybe young people to get there because it's pretty far away. But if you're up for a road trip, it's worthwhile.
Well, the Birdsville one's really tough to get to. It's so
far.
But
that's a bit tougher. But Broken Hill's doable.
You can do it.
Yeah. Only 9 hours from Melbourne or something. Right.
It's close to Adelaide, which is kind of funny, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? Big announcement, this week, is Oasis getting back together.
Not a small announcement for rock and roll, is it? No, far out.
It was actually, I think it was bigger than I expected.
Jesus?
It was bigger because the thing is, I saw them in Melbourne at the festival hall. The festival hall in 04, I think it would have been, 04, 05. And on their last world tour, they were just playing pretty small venues. Like, they weren't, it wasn't that big.
Yeah, right.
It's amazing how things come along 20 years later.
Oh, look, a bit of mystery never goes astray in the age of we give you every part of ourselves all the time, and we, oversaturation maybe. Yeah, everyone else is just throwing themselves at the algorithm and doing stuff. And then these guys just refuse to play for how many years? 20?
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, you toured with, was it Liam? Was it BDI?
Yeah, I did I supported Liam Gallagher when he was here, which was pretty awesome with Pond. Yeah, it was actually quite surreal because obviously he does a lot of the Oasis stuff.
Yeah.
And, like Liam Gallagher's voice is pretty quintessentially Oasis.
It is. And I was at the Horden gig and on that tour, I think. And next door was the Ashes. So all the Poms came over and filled up the Horden. It was such a cool night.
Oh, it's amazing. Like that. I just never thought they would do it. Apparently it was their mum or something getting sick. I don't know what the theory is, but yeah, he's an amazing front man.
And did you have much interactions on that tour, or was it one of those things where you just sort of see them in the hallway sometimes?
Oh no, we had a chat with them and stuff because Johnny sort of knows him a bit. He's played with him a bit. They have some mutual friends and hung out a little bit. And at the end of the Melbourne show, we kind of had a bit of an after party, and he's larger than life. He was kind of like Very friendly, very, very lovely, like humble guy. I know that there's like that whole rock and roll swagger attitude thing, but I didn't really get any of that from him. He was just really thoughtful and like asking, "Oh, do you want to have kids?" and like blah blah blah, like really just like a nice, normal, personable guy at the start of the night, and then at the end of the night, we were in some club, like there's some private sort of club after party thing, and he's just he's just on his own on the side of the room just going, "We are all one, we are all one," with his hands up in the air, and everyone's like, "Yeah, all right, mate, you might be one, we're just chilling." He was just he was in touch with the universe, let's say.
Let's say.
So yeah, it definitely escalated into some wildness, but all very lovely actually. Like I had a really great time, lovely people, lovely team. Seems like a good guy. And I wasn't drinking at the time, and someone in his green room when they invited us back was like, "Oh, do you want a beer?" And I was like, "No thanks, I'm not drinking at the moment." And the guy goes, "Oh, that's a bit boring." And Liam backed me and was like, "Oh, excuse me, that's not boring. If she doesn't want to drink, she doesn't have to drink. That's fine. You're boring," or something. And I was like, "Oh, good on him." You think, this rock and roll dude would actually maybe agree with him that I was being a bit boring, but he backed me, which was cool.
Good on him. There's a video I keep seeing pop up, and you've probably already seen it, where he's in his dressing room and he's making a cup of tea and...
Oh, where he talks about the difference between now and the 90s?
Yes. Yeah. Back in the 90s.
It's four people doing this.
There were 4 people doing this, and now no one's buying music. I do it myself.
I've made my own cup of tea. Yeah. Oh, mate, the funniest one that I ever heard, like just, I don't know if it was true, but was Noel Gallagher talking about Liam. And that he told some story. I know everyone's talking about Oasis, so I don't want to be boring, but he told some story where he was like, that thing where you put the spoon, like a teaspoon in the champagne bottle to keep it not from going flat?
Yes.
Apparently. And so apparently Liam's at Noel's house, and he goes to the fridge and there's a champagne bottle with a spoon in it. He goes, "What's the fucking spoon in there for?" And he goes, "Oh, it keeps it from going flat." He goes, "Really? Okay." And then next time Noel goes around to Liam's house, he opens the fridge and there's a bottle of milk with a spoon in it. He's like, he's a fucking idiot.
That's so fucking good.
I don't know if it's true, but it's very funny either way.
I thought you were going to say the plum story because apparently they broke up after... I think Liam threw a plum at Noel.
Oh, okay.
That was all it was.
It's so funny when like fame exaggerates like the small things in things and just makes things look ridiculous. Like we're just dealing with a sibling rivalry, like just a bit of a squabble between brothers. And when you add fame and amplify it a million times, it's like Liam threw a plum and like the biggest band in the world breaks up and it's like this massive news. And just imagine being their mum just watching it and just going, "Sort it out, guys."
Yeah, I know.
I'm not even going to bother trying to get tickets. I don't think I followed someone who works in their team, is a friend of ours, and she's just put up a post saying, "Hey guys, stop asking me about Oasis tickets. There's absolutely no way I'm getting you any or selling you any. Good luck when it goes on sale."
You know what? I think you got an in, by the way. I think you're sorted, just quietly.
I don't think so. We'll see. Thinking about moving over to Manchester next year, actually, so maybe we'll be there for the UK ones. Who knows?
You know what? They made a kind of a sly mention today that they called it the World Tour. So
yeah.
Thinking,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
makes sense.
And it does make sense because, I mean, you couldn't do it and just do the UK. You couldn't.
Do you know there's bands that actually make quite a substantial living just doing the UK?
Yeah.
Because it's such a big market. I mean, Oasis can transcend that, obviously, and I'm sure they will. But, yeah, it's like it's so many bands do it. Like, it's not like Australia where it's like very small pond,
Look at Confidence Man. They're built for the UK.
Yeah,
Like they're made.
They really are. They really are, and it's so good to see them doing it because it's like, again, they were sort of in that COVID thing coming up, and like, just they were so underrated for so long, and I was like, what the hell is going on here? Why is no one recognizing what's happening here? And now they are, and so the natural order of things has been restored.
I'll tell you what, Gadinsky had the Midas touch when it came to things like that. Like he was so passionate about that band. And
He really was, yeah. He was passionate about a lot of the bands that he signed. I don't know how he had so much passion. But yeah, sorry, continue.
Well, no, just like whenever he believed in an artist or a band, you kind of did prick up your ears and go, oh, you know what? 9 out of 10 times, 9.5 out of 10, he was always right.
Yeah, he was. Well, I guess it's a chicken or the egg thing, isn't it, as well? Because like if he believed in it, he would back it. Yeah. And that had an effect of it working. But at the same time, maybe people sensed his taste as well was legit from the start.
Oh, for sure. I mean, like bands like the Rubens and DMAs and Little Red was one, and Temper Trap,
Yeah.
Humble beginnings and went worldwide, so it's crazy. So what's the plan? So you got plenty of summer touring coming up?
Yeah, so I've just announced that I'm playing my first national tour, which will go ahead. There will be no cancellations here because the pandemic is done. So yeah, this is my first proper national tour, and I'll actually start off in Perth on the 25th of October, which is the day the record comes out, and then to Adelaide on the 26th, and then the following weekend it's Sydney, Brisbane on the 1st and 2nd. And then I believe it's a short wait because I've got some other stuff, and then I'm in Melbourne on the 29th of November. So yeah, I'm very excited to do that.
Congratulations. And it's going to be
thank you.
Loading a whole bunch of new songs to do live as well.
Yeah, there's a few. I've been slowly warming into it. But yeah, there's ones you haven't heard yet, ones you will hear, ones you have. But yeah, it's a pretty fair mix between the new album tracks and EP tracks. Maybe a cover or two just to shake things up.
Is there more pressure on you because it is a solo tour, like compared to Jezabels stuff? Like, is it
Oh, it's kind of yes and no, both. More pressure on Jezabels because it was a bigger band, I suppose. But and I'm just kind of starting. But I think at first I felt the pressure because I felt like the comparisons would be there. But I think enough time has actually passed now that people know it's a different act and it's a different feeling, it's a different style. A lot of people, like I was saying before, I take this as a good thing, but a lot of people don't even know I'm from the Jezabels who are Hayley Mary fans. They hear and they're like, oh, I didn't even realize. And sometimes they're like, I didn't even like that band, but then sometimes they're like, oh, that's amazing. I love that band, which is cool. But it's for me as a solo artist, you don't want to be riding on the coattails too much.
No, I get
so
that.
So that's a really good thing. But yeah, it's been a while since the Jezabels played as well. I think if we were still really active, there would be more pressure to be compared and all that kind of stuff. But
is there still a chance, by the way? Is it?
There's always a chance. We never called it quits officially because, none of us really wanted to quit playing. It's just that the reason we are not super active. I mean, they're sort of multifaceted now, but initially was, the health reasons of Heather being unwell, and then sort of it just not being conducive to the cycle of growth that is required of being a musician. It's always been like that, but particularly these days, it's that kind of feed the algorithm, keep getting bigger kind of thing. It's not a super sustainable model for anyone who needs to be near a hospital frequently or know what, have a predictable life and a routine day and a healthy diet, various
so
things.
True.
Yeah, so that was and we did tour quite a bit after Heather got her cancer diagnosis, and I'm not saying that was the only reason because it's not, but it was a big kind of, I don't know what's the word, slowed it down a lot, and then we kind of had to go, well, do we keep going with this or do we kind of go other ways? Because you can't sort of, band's a difficult thing to do, like half-assed. Can I swear on this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, you can. Please do. Yeah,
For me, anyway, I don't really like doing like a hobby thing with music. It's kind of my life. So it was a bit difficult to then be like, well, we could stay together and just sometimes do stuff. And it's like, well, we do that every now and then, but I need to kind of move on and do other things because I just like playing music.
One thing you guys did which I loved, was the residency. I remember you were at the Lansdown doing
for a
residency.
week.
For a whole week.
Yeah, that was so fun. By the end, I must admit I was a touch hoarse.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was awesome. And I love that venue. It's so iconic. Was that wasn't in COVID, was it? That was just actually before all that.
Just before. So I think it would have been like 2018 or 2017, maybe around there. So.
Yeah.
Everyone was talking about it though. Like everyone, I know so many people who went to that.
Yeah, that was amazing. Amazing week of our lives. I loved it.
And I saw you guys at Splendor. Because I remember it was kind of like when you guys were just starting to just word of mouth, and we a whole bunch of my mates, we all went up to the Sunshine Coast. It was that year that Splendor was at the Sunshine Coast. And
yeah, I'm trying to remember what year this was. I think it was 2011. We played Splendor a few times, but if you're talking about like the emerging time,
definitely 2011.
I think that was 2011.
And Kanye was the headliner, and it was
that's right.
Quite a weekend. Yeah.
Wow, what a time in the Aussie music festivals.
And the fact it wasn't at Byron Bay actually was quite easy. It was actually quite a cheap weekend, to be honest.
Yeah, right. I never really thought about that because I grew up in Byron Bay.
Oh, did you?
So,
oh, wow.
Yeah. So whenever I went, it was there. It was kind of easy. And then after that, the only times I ever went was if I was playing. So I was getting paid. So I didn't really notice how expensive it was to get to. Yeah. But, that's memory lane.
Memory lane.
Sad, isn't
I know. Actually, I've got to ask you, because the whole premise of the podcast is the rider. What is it in the rider for this tour?
Oh, gosh. Wow. I don't even know. I got to check that because I think it's like a pre-COVID rider.
Oh, yeah.
And I go through phases of not drinking. So I've really got to double check that there's not like either heaps of booze when I'm sober or no booze when I'm drinking because I screw that up occasionally. I reckon there'd be a normal average rider would be like a bit of Jameson's.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe some Young Henry's Cloudy Apple Cider. I'm a big fan of that. And then maybe some meats and cheeses and fruit, berries. Is this pretty standard?
That's pretty standard.
Yeah, it's pretty standard. I'm not super picky with riders. I don't do the M&M.
Well, and
M&Ms
also
with all the brown ones taken out.
You're paying for it anyway, being a solo artist, especially.
Yeah, you are. Actually, you know what? There's going to be no rider.
There'll be no, yeah, just a bag of CCs and a.
Well, the worst thing is, it always gets thrown out.
It would,
like
yeah.
That's most of the time. It's like it's good for like one sound guy wants a sandwich or something occasionally, and then he feels hard done by when there isn't a sandwich. But most of the time, you're just throwing it out, which kind of feels a little bit wasteful.
The professionals, I'll put it that way, they used to always stick with spirits because you can take it with you.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Maybe I'll stick to that. Thank you for the advice.
And and then by the end of the tour, you got like a road case full of booze, and well, good or bad, you can take it home.
Yeah. And this starts a cycle that we see in music called
that's
alcoholism.
True. That's what we talked about earlier. Exactly right.
Yeah, full circle.
Well, look, October 25, the album is out, and you got the tour coming up as well. Best of luck for it all, and I'll see you at the Sydney shows. And look, we're sorry to lose you to Melbourne, but we'll catch you back in.
Hey,
in town
I'm
soon.
there all the time. I'm always in Sydney. It's basically my home away from home. I'm a Sydney girl at heart, to be honest. I actually feel more at home there because I spent so long. But I moved to Melbourne to get away from feeling at home. You know how you just know too many people in a city?
Yeah.
You just want to escape. I've actually moved to the country, if I'm honest with you. We're kind of mainly in country Victoria now because we like being isolated.
Same with Tim Rogers. He's like out
yeah, he's not far from me.
Really?
Yeah, Taravale. I always forget the name of it. Yeah, it's beautiful. I had no idea as a New South Welshman how gorgeous country Victoria was.
But also how cold the winters get in those areas, though. Like I got a mate. Who
Oh,
lives
it's
not far.
freezing.
It's bloody freezing. Yeah.
It freezes over. You got to like wrap your water meter in a towel and shit, or it breaks. Yeah, it is. But I like that because I'm Scottish and I like the cold. I grew up in Byron and I was like, this is horrible. I hate the beach. It's too hot. Get me out of here.
Your makeup runs and all that stuff.
Yeah. Your gothic makeup just doesn't work on the beach.
Hayley, so good to catch up.
Thanks for having me.
What a cool chat. Hayley Mary, check out her new album, Roman Excess, which comes out October 25, and a whole bunch of touring this summer as well. And I'm still quietly hoping we'll see more Jezabels in the next couple of years. The writer with Becko, give it a follow on Instagram, and of course on any podcast platform. That means you get every episode downloaded straight to your smartphone. Next week, we're getting all set for a huge summer of touring. Unwritten Law are coming down under with their guitarist Scotty Mack. We'll catch up with him next week. This is the Writer with Becko. Catch you then.